Hey guys, what's up? It's Ryan here. It is Friday, December 20th, 2019. We're at the second day after the impeachment, and we're looking at our ES charts here. And as you can see, we're still kind of popping up here on the 180-day chart. We have a huge candle for the week, it looks like. Now, in the overnight session, it looks like we were bouncing up. We didn't undo too much of the gains from yesterday's session, which we took about here, and we sold about here. We did pretty well, so I'm just going to put on another trade. And today, the thought process, and that's what I'm just going to do, is run you guys through kind of what I'm thinking here. Is we're definitely in an uptrend. It's a Friday. Generally, what happens is these bull markets continue on Fridays, and it doesn't mean that it can't crash on news or some other factor, but we're not really looking for shorts here. We're going to be looking to do a trend play and hopefully hold it for a little while and see how that goes. We'll probably use a little bit of leverage, maybe 2 or 3 contracts, and see how that goes. So let's just look at the overall thought process. So we know for the 180-day chart we are in a bull market. For the daily 1,000 tick, we're also looking long. What I like to do is switch this to a 20-day chart to kind of see where we're at as far as days of the week. And you can see this week here, if you look at the bottom, Monday through Friday, we've been on a little bit of an uptrend. We did go sideways for a good while, but now we're starting to break upward again, so that's great. So I do take a look at different time frames. For instance, let's look at the 5-day, and you can see here very clearly that we've been, extremely sideways, and now we're starting to move up. So I'm going to be playing with the trend. Again, that's how I like to trade, and we're going to take a position here. So let's see. Again, I might pause the video if something gets too stale or boring or we're waiting for a fill, but I do resume these videos once we get a fill and then once we see the outcome. So I'm going to try to keep these videos not short because I don't want them too chopped up, but I'm trying to give you the overall idea of how we're putting on these trades. So we're going to just switch this chart back. I like to just use this macro chart just to keep an eye on things. You can zoom in on this chart with TD, and then of course we want to start zooming in on this chart, and I like to trade the 1,000 tick like I had mentioned before. So you don't just want to trade this big macro version of this chart. You want to zoom into today's movements. So we're going to take everything after the overnight session, and I like to stretch it out kind of like this a little bit, but we're actually going to bring this down. So it looks like off the open we had a little bit of a pop, then the second direction was down, then we started kind of hitting a floor here for the US session, not for the day. That was much lower. So this line is the 50 MA moving average, and you can see we're trading well above it here. We've dipped down below it, and it looks like we're correcting back to it. I don't use fibs really. I know a lot of people do. It's it can be helpful. They're definitely respected levels that most people look at. But I'm going mainly with the trend play. So I'm going to zoom back out. Again, it looks like we have kind of this trend continuing from yesterday's session, even down here, down here. So we have this trend, and I'm going to say like the beginning of the trend's about here, and we're just playing right up the straight line. And if I can pull a drawing, we're playing about right here where this red line is. So this is the trend line, and what I'm going to do is just switch this back to a normal tool here, just a pointer, and we're going to start looking at the action. And I'm going to be looking to jump in, and obviously there's no profit or loss for the day. And the first thing I want to do is see what our entry is going to be. We want to go long, and we're already in an upward movement here. So what we're probably going to do And let's just zoom out one more time. I like to look at different views all the time before I think about where I want to pop in. But if you look at this red trend line, I think we're just above that trend. So what we're going to do is probably, let's get in a little closer, probably going to put in a buy order on the next dip. And it looks like it is starting to step a little bit. We did have this peak high right here. It looks like we're definitely going to test that high again. So let's go ahead and just start looking at where we might want to enter. Now, generally, if you want to be smart about this, you'd want to enter at the bottom of the trend. So that's around 32.25.50. We're going to go ahead and just put our order in there. We're going to go ahead and use a, let's see, we're going to use a 1-point stop, because if we start to get reversal of that trend even a little bit, we might not want to come in right here. There are some heavy shorts coming in. You can see these red candles, we're popping up. That's why I like using the tick charts, because we're seeing volume. There was like a huge sell here. It looks like we're in the midst of another one here, and then our limit order is right here. And then the price currently is right here. So we're about 3 ticks away from the entry, and we have a full 1-point stop. So you can see the stops here. So if it were to drop down, too far below that trend, we are going to get stopped out on this trade, and we may have to just enter at a more conservative, lower value if it starts dipping, if this does turn into a reversing downtrend here. But it doesn't look like that's necessarily the case yet. So I'm going to go ahead and just stop the video, and I'll resume that when we get filled, and then we'll see how we do with this entry right here at the bottom of this trend. Hey guys, just continuing the video, we did actually have to move our entry up a little bit. We're sitting at 32.27.75. It looks like we're starting to step up here, and let me just one more time for you guys zoom out. The high for today is an entire point up, so it looks like we are going to retest the high. We do have a stop loss down at 32.24. We are going to probably move this down to 32.2075, and we're going to let this trade roll for a little while, and I'm going to keep it interesting for you guys, not talk too much, and I'll go ahead and pause the video for now, and we will come back. It's currently 12:47 p.m. We'll see how this trade transpires. Hey guys, just jumping on to update you on the trade. It looks like the price action's moving very, very slowly here. So I'm going to just let this trade ride. We have obviously the same position on here. If we get a reversal of the trend, I'll explain why we may have closed the trade. But the goal here is to put a trade on from start to finish and show you guys the outcome regardless, when you should cut losses, all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and just let this fly. It's about 1:30 p.m., so we're kind of in trading lunch hours. If we continue the uptrend through, it should push through and retest that high and potentially break through it as we head into the bell. So if we have to chop this video up a little bit, we'll definitely do that. But if it starts trading downward, we'll go ahead and update that as well. And then, of course, we have our stop loss down at 32.2075. So just keep watching the video, and it should continue right on, probably a little bit later. Thanks. Hey guys, just a little update here. We've been in this trade for quite a while. It's now 2:30 p.m. What we've done is drawn a couple trend lines here. I know we're starting to unfold past these lines, but we drew one here, the red, and then we drew another here. We're still sloping upward. It is starting to potentially create the grounds to believe that there is a downtrend, but I'm going to go ahead and just zoom out here. It looks like we still have a little while to drop excuse me, before we would cut our loss on this trade. Now our stop loss is in the same spot that it was excuse me, all the way down here. If it does break and it starts to crash down, that's fine. We're going to get stopped out. I do believe yesterday's trade was about plus 550, So we're only going to take, a little bit of a loss out of yesterday's gains. And I would rather have the stop completely out of the way rather than put it up higher and then mitigate too much risk and then end up, losing the trade toward the end of the session when it starts to go up or if it starts to go up. So I'm going to let this fly. We're currently sitting at about negative 100. It is popping up and down, but I'm going to cut the video off one more time and then bring it back to you. Thanks. Hey guys, just continuing this video. It's actually days later. It's actually the day after Christmas. I decided to go ahead and hold this trade overnight. And I decided to, in the course of the holiday, just lower the stop down to 32.2083. We went ahead, held the trade, and as expected, we're having a nice little jump after the holiday. I decided to close that trade at 527.50. I'm going to go ahead and open up a brand new trade for today, December 26, 2019, so that way you guys can see an intraday trade. I should say. But normally I do not hold for that long, but because on this 20-day chart, we were going sideways for so long, I decided to drop the stop down to about here. And if I would have hit 32.20, it would have been a stop out. But the chances of the market going down with talks of China going well, all that stuff, very slim for it to just like dip through the holiday, but we did have a stop in place, so I just wanted to close out that trade. So we made 527.50. It took a few days, but I'm going to go ahead and post another trade intraday that will definitely close out today, December 26th. Thanks a lot, guys.